Welcome back to my channel. This is Frank, Whiskey Charlie Zero Oscar. What I want to do is I want to show you some of the modifications that I've done with the ultimate Solar GoBox for the IC705. I think the design of this GoBox, Solar GoBox, is pretty unique. I haven't seen anything like it online. It's unique because it's pretty compact and it's expandable. Since my first design of it using a ammo box from Harbor Freight, it has matured and grown into something that is that I see it being more flexible, and I'm really liking the design. Now, some of the design choices are probably more on the less expensive side. And there's certain reasons why, and I'll explain as I go along. You can always watch the first video that I did on the Ultimate Solar GoBox for the IC705, and you'll see that there are some differences that that I have implemented in this version. So, first of all, I'm still using the Plano small dry storage tackle box. So this is very similar to the ammo box, except that it's orange. And this one I got from West Marine, and it was on sale, I think for $6.99 or something. They usually sell for like $11. It's made out of polypropylene, so it's a nice sturdy plastic. Of course, it comes with a lid, and you can always attach the lid here by pressing down or popping it out, which is really good because this way you can put the radio down without it interfering with the this hatch, and it has a latch here so you can close it and then secure it. So this is a great type of material. You can easily make holes. Now I use step drills to make these holes, and they look something like this. These step drills are, very important in making holes in different types of materials. This will easily make a hole in the polypropylene. And so you put this on a drill, and then it just turns, and then the plastic is being taken away. And a lot of the times, you might think, well, this is, whatever, 3/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to drill a 3/4 of an inch hole. I would recommend doing little by little, getting to the point where you'll be able to fit these panels. Some of these panels, will fit very nicely with the proper size, and sometimes they won't. So this is an invaluable tool. You can get these on Amazon or Harbor Freight. It's good to get not one but different sizes. So this particular design has a couple of holes. Now let's orient this. The buckle here is on my right, so I have this hole here that's going to be for the BNC male to female coaxial jumper cable, which is about 6 inches long, and that will be screwed here, and then this part will be connecting to the radio. So that is part of this, and it has a bolt here where you can bolt it down, and the size is just right. This part right here coming out, I really don't like. I wish it was more more down. There are some, but then it takes away too much space inside. Inside here is really limited in space. If you want to know This length here is 11 and 5/8 inches, and then going this way, this width is 7 and 1/8 width, and then the height apparently no. The width here must be 5 and 1/8. Sorry, 5 and 1/8 inches, and then this is what they call the width, I guess. This is 7 and 1/8. So it's a pretty compact box. Okay, and then I have other holes here. So again, this is the right side. These holes over here, we're going to have other things like the USB. I'm going to have a USB connection. The panel that's going to go over here. And over here there's going to be a dial that gives me voltages. This dial in particular is the Power Rec panel mount segmented digital voltmeter, which is really nice because it's very colorful and it's very accurate for the lithium iron phosphate batteries. And on the other side, I'm going to have a switch to turn on and off the GoBox. And then there's going to be an Anderson power poles. These Anderson power poles. These are panel pole 2s from Power Rec. And I love the color of these Anderson power poles, the color ones. This yellow and black I know is for solar. And then the red and the black is going to be for the MXP50M. And the cool thing about this is you can put 2 Anderson power poles in a panel. These you don't see. You might see them on eBay. They're not very good. They're not very designed very nicely, but the Power Rec ones are. Although they're a bit pricey. That'll go over here. And then recently, just a few days ago, I want to connect. You see, this the IC705 has 2 3.5 millimeter jacks, and these the first one is for the no, the second one is for the tuner. The first one is for the amplifier. And so this is in here, right? But all the time I seem to get the cable for the tuner or for the amplifier, and I don't want to take it out and plug it in here, right? I want a nicer, elegant way. So I got the what they call the jumper. No, this is the stereo jack panel mount. That's right here. These come separately. And then, of course, a 3.5 millimeter 90 degree male plug to wire. And then I soldered this nicely. I had to figure out which lead goes to which, the tip ring sleeve connection. And I have some videos on that in terms for the amplifier. But that, of course, this will have, I have 2 holes here, which this will come through very nicely. And then it has a bolt. It's going to be really nice, actually. So I can connect the, connect the ATU and the amplifier. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wow, 6, 7 holes that I had to drill. 2, 4, 6, 7, yeah. These, you might want to practice on another box. A lot of the times the ammo box from Harbor Freight, they go down to like $4.99, and I don't know if I've ever seen them for free. It's possible. But, practice drilling on some holes, because you'll probably make a mistake or two. If not, that's awesome. Like over here, I made a mistake. Look at that. That's horrible. But hey, not bad. I like the color. Okay, so the box really holds the panels, the switches, the Anderson power pole, the 3.5 millimeter jacks, the BNC, right? The switch, or the switch, by the way, is called a 3-pin lighted rocker switch, which we'll talk about. Okay, so that's the box, right? This box here. And somewhere around here, I have a little cloth here that covers the screen when I put the lid on there. It's always nice to cover it so that it won't get scratched. Okay, so what's inside the box, right? Inside the box, there's a lot of things going on there. And so let me explain here. So the number one thing is the Buddy Pull Mini, right? The Buddy Pull Power Mini 2. Now I'm going to put it like this. I'm going to put it upside down because, again, to reference this, here's the latch, right? And here's the where I open it. I purposely have it this way because I'm using my left hand to open it and then take it off, right? So this is where the radio will sit, this way. So I'm going to orient all the connections based on where the holes are. And so the Power Mini, unfortunately, has to be flipped this way because this is where I want some of the connections. I want to have them in a certain place. Maybe in the future I'll change that. But so the Buddy Pull Power Mini 2. Now this is not inexpensive. This is a solar controller. It's done very well. I got it because it really doesn't make any noise on any of the handbands that I've tried it on so far. It does everything for me in terms of managing my battery power. I can connect a solar panel, which I love the colors here. I connect a solar panel here. I have a USB 2, which has a little more power now with the Mini 2. I have a description on the Buddy Pull Power Mini 2. I'll leave it on the video below. I have a blue, right? Look at that, blue for battery. That's really nice for the bioenno. And then I have two loads, load 1 and 2. This is where I can connect the radio. This is where I can connect one of these panels, right? The Power Rec panel mount segmented digital voltmeter, or the voltmeter. And so this is where I get power for the IC705, and this is where I'll get power for my amplifier. And the crazy thing is that I can also power something through USB. Yes, I can see it now. I can hear you. You know, it's like you can't power all those things with a 36 watt hour bioenno battery. That's true. You can't run everything on this, like all 3 things, right? But I'll explain how I get the, what's the purpose of having, 2 Anderson power poles and also a USB. That seems like too much power. And the radio, well, actually not 2, just one Anderson power pole. Yes, that is possible. So that is possible in terms of managing your power. Okay, so this will go underneath, and then you'll have your Anderson power pole, but it doesn't go directly to the Buddy Pull Power Mini 2. I used to do this before. I would just connect it directly, and this would be turned on. This doesn't seem to drain too much power, but it does a little bit. And of course, if I don't use it for 2 weeks or something, it'll significantly drop the battery because it needs power to run. So I wanted to control turning this on and off, and there is no switch on there. The only switch would be like turning on the battery and turning off the battery. And so that's what this is about. So I have a diagram on the schematic diagram of how this is working here. So I have the switch right here, which, by the way, is a 3-pin lighted rocker switch. It has 3 pins. It has a ground, and then the middle pin is for the battery, all right, and then the other pin is for the load. And so what I did here was the load, right, which will be the Buddy Pole Power Mini, and the battery. The load and the battery. This is not really technically a load, right? But this is the thing that's going to draw power. So this is technically a load. And then this one is going to be for the battery. And I color-coded it that way. These 2 things are going to need ground. So that's why this has a Wago. A Wago is really nice. You lift these sticks or whatever these are, levers. You lift them up, right? Here we go. We'll get closer here. We'll lift it up, and then you can put the wire and then close it down. You don't need anything fancy like this. You can always get one of those wire nuts. But then, this is a little more elegant. This is really nice. And yes, it's really in there. And they're rated very nicely in terms of power. They don't melt very easily. Okay. So this will go to the battery. And then this one, well, the battery, labeled battery for the Buddy Pole Power Mini. And then this one goes to the battery. And this one's color-coded. I made it that way. I love this color. It's really neat. And so this panel switch will go on the small dry storage tackle box. So it's gonna go right here. This one's gonna go right there. And I like the switch being like this, I think. No, wait a minute, let me see. Like this probably. So I can just switch it on. So this, I guess you can call it a harness or something. All this wiring just so that I can turn this on, right? Yeah, there's probably an easier way to do it. Just put a switch between this one and that. But I wanted to use a rocker switch because the cool thing is when you turn it on, you heard it beep, right? This is on, but then this is nice and bright, this green light. That's really nice. I like that. So I know that the Power Mini, the Buddy Pole Power Mini 2 is turned on, and now these loads are ready to be activated, right? And then if I click this off, everything is off. So everything's powered down. So I'm not going to, there's no, there's nothing that's going to be turned on. Even the USB connection. Okay, this is cool because if there's no sun and I need to power this battery, I can always use the Bioenno charging, brick, and then I just put it on there. And voila, it would get charged. So that's really neat if I need to do that. Okay, then you have your USB. This one, I think I kind of like put it together. There isn't anything like this. There is a USB panel mount with a small amount of cable, but this part right here I had to like put together from something else. So this is not original, but you know, you make do with, you know, things. I'll leave that in the description. But that one connects right there. And that's ready to go right there. And this will be on the left side. And I'll put it over here on this hole right here. This will go right there. Then you still have this hole on the left and this other hole on the right. So far, hopefully that's pretty straightforward. This one, okay, then might as well do this one. So this one is, of course, what did I call this? The panel mount segmented digital voltmeter from Power Rec. So this one will go to load 1 or load 2. It doesn't really matter. And that one will go on this side right here. Now, one thing that I haven't talked about, might as well talk about it, are these Spade connectors. See that? There's several Spade connectors. Are they cool? They are okay for what they are. These Spade connectors, I like to use a crimper. And here's the crimper. It's pretty generic. I couldn't find a crimper that was a ratchet for these particular spades. As you can see, let's get a little close up here. Right over here, you can see that it has two places to crimp. This part right here for the shield, and then the wire. So the wire is crimped there, and then this is crimping the plastic, the sheathing, the housing. It's good to do that because then it's really nice and firm and tight. And then you use these crimpers. It takes a little while to figure out how to crimp it. It's always good to buy a lot of these Spade connectors and then just mess around, have some old wire, test it, figure out how to do it, and you're on your way. See, the thing about this project is not so much about, oh, you know, do I have to buy all these things and, you know, that looks very expensive, or I don't want to use, you know, X, Y, and Z. That's fine. The whole point here is to learn about different things, like Anderson power poles. You know, I didn't know how to put them together, and now I do. It's pretty straightforward, but it wasn't when I started. And I got a video for that if you want to know how to put these Anderson power poles. The Spade connectors, I didn't know anything about them. You know, the polarity, sure, I knew about that. But for example, this rocker switch, this took a little while to figure out in terms of which one goes where. But my schematics will tell you which pin goes where. And then you connect this here. And then this one will go outside, so that's another component. So if I turn this on, there it is. It's going to tell me the voltage. It might be a little bit hard to read on the video, but it says 13.9. So that's really nicely charged. And it's very colorful. It has green, orange, and red. So by the time it's in orange, you know the power is going to start draining very quickly. And it does an awesome job in telling me. And of course, this drains a little bit of power. So if I didn't have the switch, and this was on all the time, it would drain the battery eventually. So turn everything off, and that goes off as well. Can you use something else instead of a buddy pole power mini 2? Yes, you can. But this solar controller is really the controller you want for portability. This thing is invaluable in the field. This should be winning awards. I mean, there isn't anything in the market. Sure, there are others that are smaller. Like PowerRec has one that's really small and really inexpensive, but it makes noise, I think, on the 10-meter band. Sure, there's other ones that are larger and does more things, but there aren't many that have Anderson power poles ready for you, and it's color coded. You just plug in your solar panel, you plug in your battery, and of course you have to deal with the menu system, and it's going to manage manage the sun energy into charging the battery. Okay, sure, there's probably better technologies out there to charge your battery, but this is good. All right, so the next thing we have here is this. Wow, this particular harness, another harness that has a lot, actually. I'll try to explain it here. And of course, on my diagram, I have it there as well. What's really going on with this harness is that this is the main thing that powers the radio, which, by the way, this cable, I have a video on cables, power cables for the IC705. This one is the IC0PC 2421 DC power cable for the IC705. It's very long, and it has fuses, and it just keeps going on. It's bare wire in the end. But I took this particular cable, and what I did was I cut it. I cut it into 3 pieces. And I did that because it was really too long. This wire here was too long, and it was really hard to snake it inside the box and make it all compact. So what I did was I cut this wire into 2 places to give me 3 wires. One short wire here. This short wire is an Anderson power pole, and I'll show you where that goes. And then the other piece of the wire went to some Anderson power poles. Okay. And then this one, these yellow ones, this one here, this one goes to the solar right here. Okay. Because this panel, this Anderson power poles, they go on the right side. And then this one goes to the load here. And then here you have for the radio, which will go on the other side, on the right side. Okay, but let's go over this. So this setup here is the harness for this one right here, the load, and it has 2 Wagos. It has 2 Wagos because there are 2 connections that I'm sharing ground with, and that is the first one. This one right here is for the load. Now, of course, when I turn this on, so I'm gonna plug this in, right? So this connection here, this connection, right, which is positive and negative, have to share that positive and negative power to 2 things. What are those 2 things? Well, one of them is the right angle connection for the radio, and then the other lead, the other wire, goes to an Anderson power pole so that I can power the MX-P50M. That was the whole point in doing this. I didn't have an extra Anderson power pole connection for any type of device going out, but I've noticed that the MX-P50M, if I set the radio at 2.5 watts, it will drain about 33 at peak, 33 watts, which this which this will handle. it says right here 3 amp max continuous, which it does. And then here, a very tiny writing, 6 amp max peak, or 3 amp max continuous, and the the MXP50M amplifier doesn't do continuous 3 amp hours. It doesn't, and it doesn't even reach anything close to 6 amps, which is incredible that it can, at its peak, you can peak it almost at 6 amps. That's pretty amazing. It's an amazing, it's an amazing battery. You can't beat this. Okay, so my previous Solar GoBox didn't have an extra Anderson power pole, and so I said, why not? Let's see if this small battery can power the amplifier, and it can. So that's why that's there. And then this one, of course, like I mentioned before, is for the solar. So let's put that over here on the solar. And the cool thing about this, it's all color coded. And that's the important thing to note, that when I have this on the box, right, on the right side, that I know that this one goes to the solar and the other one is just 12 volts. And I can power anything I need as long as it doesn't drain, like take too much amperage from the battery. And then all this needs to be tucked away, and there's ways to doing that, right? So we have the switch, you have the Anderson power poles here on the right, you have your USB over here on the left, and then you have your meter ready to go. Then this is connected to the radio. And then when I turn this on, there you go. See that? It powers the Buddy Pole Power Mini 2, and then I have a dial to tell me how much power. Now, I'm pretty sure this is true. If this is off, right, you can have a solar panel connected to it and it won't charge the battery because this is turned off. Okay? Even though there's power coming from the solar panel, it won't power this unit until I tell it to, like so. If I forget to turn this on, if I connect, let's say I'm in the car, I have a nice little 5-watt solar panel, foldable, and I put that on top of my moonroof, and if I don't turn this on, this is not going to charge. So you got to keep that in mind. All right. And then these here, as I mentioned before, these are going to go into the radio, right? This goes over here, that powers it. And then you have these two that will go in here. One is going to be for the ATU, the other one's going to be for the amplifier. And then this one will go over here so that I can put an antenna so I don't have to, like, take out the radio and put the antenna in. That looks like a big mess, doesn't it? And then in between this and this, I put a little balsa wood, like there. And then the radio can go on top of that as a platform. I think that's pretty good. I mean, it has, what's this mess for, right? This is really so I can have a battery that I can charge from the sun. Not only that, that battery with this solar controller can tell me what's going on with that battery, how much power I have. I can also, if I need for an emergency, if I need to power my phone, let's say I'm doing an activation and my phone is, the power is running out, I can charge it very easily. I just need a little bit of charge. And I have the Anderson power pole. So let's say I want to charge my phone. I'm not using the amplifier. I can connect it. I can connect my 20-watt solar panel, my power film foldable. That's going to be pretty straightforward, and power my phone. I don't have to use the amplifier. And maybe, I haven't tested this yet because I haven't measured how much power there is, how much power the phone takes in. But maybe I can use both. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do the amplifier. Now, I can have the radio and the amplifier turned on at the same time, because when I turn on the power here, it's going to give me the 10 watts. But I don't use the 10 watts. I only use 2.5 watts. So it's not like I'm drawing a lot of power from the battery. And I've tested it, and working both together, I get up to 33 watts of power. Wow, that's a lot, isn't it? And then you have the switch, which is, yes, a little bit complicated, but it has, when you power it on, it tells me it's turned on, and everything's ready to go, ready to be taken away in the box, right? And the beautiful thing is everything's stored away in here. So, of course, the argument will be, why not get yourself an IC 7300? And I do explain why I don't in my other video. Let's put the battery in here. And that is to power. So I like to have it over here on the corner here. Somehow I would like to have it this way so this could be longer, but it doesn't happen. So this will be good enough for now. And this, of course, if I need some power where there is no sun, I can take the brick from the Bioenno and just plug it in there, and I'll charge it. And the solar controller, the Buddy Pole Power Mini, can be turned on. Okay, so that's there. Let's see. We can take this rig here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread this through here. Let's see if I can do this right. Yes, okay. Pass through all those hoops. And then probably go through here like this, right? And I don't have to disconnect these Spade connectors. You can, and you can figure it out. I put the middle pin here. That's for the battery. You can do that, but I decided not to unpin it. And then I got to figure out how to put all this in here. I think I have to go through all these. This one, and this one, and this one, right? Really hard to see, I know. But I made it, okay? And this switch needs to be oriented the way I want it oriented. And here we're going to have to do some movie magic or something. I'm not sure, because this takes a little while to get it oriented right. These are the few things that I don't like about this battery. Doesn't seem to be helpful there. Might have to use my right hand. Okay, so I finally got it to screw in, and then this just needs to be oriented the way I want it. So if I have it flushed here, I just got to make sure it's perpendicular. I want to make sure it's perpendicular. And then I'm going to have to tighten it. It's probably best to tighten this by hand. Don't use any tools. You might break something. It has gears. Like a gear look to it. And then you can use your thumb or something to tighten it. Okay. And hopefully that will stay. That's really nice. Okay. All right, maybe now we can put the battery in here. All right. Again, this latch is oriented to my right. That's how you're going to know how this is oriented. Here's the battery. Now, because it's color-coded, I can connect this to the battery. Okay. And then the other one, this whole point on this harness is so that I can turn on and off the Buddy Pole Power Mini 2. This is considered a load. So the load is that I guess the first pin for the positive on the lighted rocker switch, and then that goes there. All right. The tricky part now is to gingerly start stacking these things and logistically feel where these things should go. It's not easy to figure that out because there's going to be other things that are going to be here. You're just going to have to be very, very ginger. You have to be very do things gingerly. There we go. I guess that's the right way of saying it. These spade connectors, if you start moving them too much, that's going to be a problem because then they might get unhooked. That's happened to me before. So, sometimes it takes a little bit. Another thing too, as I'm explaining, the wire on these things should be nice and pliable. You have wire that's like, I have some wire that's really nice, but it's really inflexible. And that might, distort the connections. And so far, I'm not liking anything I see here. Okay. It's gonna have to do. It's gonna have to. You'll see that it has its own mind. Sometimes you have to twist things so that it can conform to where you need it where you need the wires to be, because you don't want, when you want to keep the battery one like here, you don't want any wires to go higher than the buddy pole, right? You don't want any wires to go higher than the buddy pole, because if they do, that doesn't. If they do, so when you put the balsa wood panel here, and you don't need, of course, the balsa wood panel, but you see it's already creating a nice platform here for me, so I can put the radio. It's pretty sturdy and stable. And then I cut a notch, and eventually this is gonna break. This is gonna tear. I should get a new balsa wood. But I put a little notch so that the wires could come out from there. And I'm pretty sure this is off still. Yeah, this is off. Okay, so we got that. I guess we can put the USB. So I'm gonna take that off. This one is, I don't like, I wish they would make a nice panel version of this and make the wire a little more pliable, but they don't. So this is the best one that I've found so far. So I might as well connect it here. And you cannot, nothing should be stressing, right? right? The wires should fall into place nicely. Do not like force anything, because these connections, they can easily break. And then there goes your investment. So, you know, making sure that that's not tugged in so tightly, because if it is, the USB connection, if that's too tight, then it's not, it's not going to last you. And of course, that is bulky and it gets in the way, but hopefully you'll find a way to manage it. And then this one, this connection, do I want it like this? Yeah, I think so. I wish this one had a cover. It did. My previous one did. If you watch my previous video, then I had to like snake all the wire in, but I really didn't like it. But it did have a cover. I did like that. So I'm going to look for something that's a panel like that with a short wire. So this is going to take me a little while to figure out, because this is the hardest one to screw in. I'm surprised. Sometimes you don't want to, force the thread, because then you'll mess up the bolt. And then it's not going to work very nicely, and then you're going to get upset. Then you're going to try to find another bolt for it, or grab it from some other. That's one thing that I've noticed, that sometimes you have to buy more than one of the same item. And sometimes they'll give you, not this USB one, but the rocker switch, they gave me like 5 of them. Do I need 5? No. But there might be some pieces that I might take off and then put it on something else. This rocker switch has this bezel here, which I used for this USB connection, because it didn't have this bezel. So, you have to improvise. I mean, it's not great, but it'll do just fine. So as you can see, that's pretty flush, actually. I know it's hard to tell. Here, let's see if we can get a close-up here. But you can see that is going underneath, and it's holding the other wires down. And there's nothing being forced. So again, if you have wire that's really stiff and it's really stressing any of the plugs, I would reconsider in finding a different type of wire. Sometimes you don't have that luxury, so you just have to deal with what you got. But ultimately, you don't want to stress any of the connections. Ooh, so that, I think that was really nice that worked out. And actually, in second thought, maybe I should have put this after this one, because this, all that wire goes underneath on this side. But okay, we'll figure that out right now. Okay, so this one actually, I don't thread all of it in here. What I do is I disconnect this. The other thing, I gotta be super correct. So 2 Wagos, one is a positive and one is negative. And what I'm going to do, might as well do it now. I think I have a marker here. Okay, so that's positive. This wire takes me here. And all these Wagos have when you have the line, right? This line, the white line that's on the black, that's telling me that it's going to be positive. And the black ones don't. That's a pretty neat idea, isn't it? This Wago is negative. None of the leads have a white stripe. So this is positive. So what I can do is I can put a positive sign there. I only need to mark one. So I can be absolutely sure. And so what am I doing? Well, I wanna take this piece off. And this also shows you how neat it is. See, I lift this up, and then these come out. Look at that. That's really neat, isn't it? Lift this out. See that? And then take it off. And it really flattens that nicely. This cable, again, this piece of cable comes from the IC OPC 2421 DC power cable. The one that you get from the radio. But when you buy it separately, it's almost like an arm and a leg. It's not inexpensive, but it has the right angle that I like. So, oh wait. So I'm going to take this off here, right? Okay. By the way, if you're still watching, that's awesome. Please subscribe. If you like this content, please consider liking this video. I really appreciate that. I do appreciate my audience. They are wonderful. I'm really liking the way the channel is coming along. Okay. So, I know it's hard to see, but that is coming through. And you should test these panels. Again, this one's the panel pole 2 from PowerRec. When you drill the hole, right, using those step bits, you got to do it slowly, but eventually one will make the connection really nice, because sometimes it's really too tight and it's really hard to manage. And then I want to make sure that I can, because this moves. Now, where do I want that? I'm pretty sure that moves, right? Yeah, see, you can have it this way. I don't think I want it this way, because I want the plugs to go. Do I want it this way, where the plugs come here? Probably. See, so you got to think about where it's going to land. And can it? No, see, you can't do it that way. Wow. So does it go like, oh, there it is. So it has a certain orientation. Okay. So you can't put it the way. But this way, 2 blocks, you can't connect Anderson power poles this way. It won't fit. So it has to go this way. Okay, so the orientation looks good. I'm going to screw this one in here, right? And do some moving magic maybe. All right, I'll come back when I put this on. There was some spacing issues there. Okay, using your thumb, maybe your fingernail, right? Make sure that's oriented the way you like it. And then this plugs in. That seems to stay. Yep. Okay. Wow. All right. So this part is yellow. It's color coordinated. I love these Anderson power poles that are colored. Buddy Pole actually was the first company that I recognized that, and I started doing that myself. It's awesome. It's an awesome idea. Because sometimes you're wondering, where does this go? Where does this Anderson power pole go? Okay. So, it looks like it's flushed. Kind of. And then you got these wires. Right? And I'm going to make them... I don't think tinting them would be a good idea. Because it does use a surface area. But... okay. So we're going to connect this to the Wago. Well, we might as well zoom a little bit. Let's see if we can figure this out. Okay. Hopefully, it's zooming in. So I have the positive right there, right? And which one is positive? This one. Now you got to be absolutely sure what you're doing. You don't want to change the polarity because it's possible you can mess something up. Fortunately, I do have a fuse for the radio. That's number one. Yeah, there should be fuses for other things too, but my number one investment is the radio. The bioenno does have some protection. But anyway, the stripe, right? And make sure the other one is black. This wire looks black to me. This wire is striped. That's the positive one, so it goes to the positive. Way go. So you got to go in here. See that? Goes in there. And all you need to do is latch it. It's there. Nice and tight. This is awesome technology. Yes, you can use a wing nut. Yes, you don't have to pay a lot of money for this. Like, I know some of you are like, wait a minute, you don't need that. Yes, I know you don't need it. But, the cool thing is that if you're doing something modular, right, this saves you some time. Wing nut, sure, you can unfold it and fold the wire back. I know. That's not the point, right? Yes, you don't need to buy, just like you don't need to buy the Buddy Pole Power Mini. You can do it some other way. Yes, I know. But these are just things that make life a little more easier. That's the point is you could do other things that you can enjoy, doing other things, and, experience other things. Okay. So I got to make sure all these are lined, white line. Yes, those are positive. And how do I know that? Well, I had to read that on the internet somewhere. Okay, so I will now, we'll zoom out. Hopefully you saw that. That gives you an idea. I might have to lift this probably, right? And then put this in here. This, I guess I should plug it in. Right? This is where it's going to get its power from. I should have done that. Should have thought about that. Got to make sure you manage. Again, don't bend too much. Give it its breathing room. Don't force anything. These fuses, they are a handful, but I think again. Sometimes they don't fit the way you want it. This Anderson power pole is getting in the way. Okay. Well, this other wire is getting in the way. So we'll see what type of trouble I'm going to get on that. And believe it or not, it was way worse before. Now, one thing about this, the IC IC0PC or IC0, I think, or it could be an O. IC0PC 2421 DC power cable. This is very long, but I try to put as much as I can because I don't need too much. I don't need a lot of this because this is going to come out from the balsa wood. This is going to connect it to the radio. And so this is just extra wire that I have to figure out to put. And then the Wagos. See, the Wagos are getting in the way. And I'm probably going to put the Wagos underneath the... As long as it's not stressing anything out. Let me see. Should be okay like that. And a lot of it's just massaging and figuring out where these wires will go. And yeah, I know you're like, oh, I can't see what you're doing. But you get a sense of what's going on. Like I have to I just gotta make sure things are not too tight. The thing that worries me more is the USB cable. That's the one that, sometimes I wish the box was just a few millimeters more bigger. But it's not. So you're just going to have to conform with what you got. Okay, so far so good. And sometimes, it might look all crooked, but you're not going to see that. And again, it would be awesome if I can figure out a way to display this, maybe on the wall of the polyethylene. But that's crazy. That's crazy talk, because there's not enough room, or I haven't really thought about it. Maybe there is a way. I'm going to put this load. This is the one that tells me what's going on with the battery. This is invaluable. There are other dials that you can use. There's one that also has a USB-C or a USB-A. There's a combination one, but the battery is not big enough to handle that. But if the battery was bigger, if I was making maybe a Solar GoBox that is for maybe like a field day, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Because I do have a box. I have a battery. What do you call that? A battery. A solar box, I guess. That's powering some of these lights that I have here. Okay, so this is going to take me a little while to screw on this bolt, and I'll be right back. So I finally got that going. Again, this is the right side. The dial, so when this goes down like this, I want the dial to be pointing towards me and the orientation correctly. That has happened before, where the dial is in the wrong place. And you want to use your thumb to hand tighten this. Don't go overboard. You might strip something. Okay. And while I was doing that, some of this started to come apart, which is fine. I'm still keeping an eye on making sure that none of the wire really goes above the Buddy Pull Power Mini. And again, this dumb USB to cable is so annoying. And that cable, this cable too is annoying, this right angle power cable for the IC705. It's another annoying cable. But you really can't do anything. Again, I'm trying not to stress that. This is lifted up a little bit just because of that. If I had to do this again, I would probably maybe a few millimeters over that way. But I can't. It's already made. It was made for the other one, actually. This piece here, that's a little too long. It needs to be shorter. Okay. Well, can't complain too much. This needs to be better. There we go. It's pretty pliable, some of this wire. I know I'm pressing this a little bit. I know how much I can press that. Now here I can see there a little bit of an issue. I have those holes for these guys here, which we'll do. Now, if I would have done this again, I might have bought one type, maybe gold, and the other one silver. But the orientation of the IC705, we have the Send ALC. It's the first one. That's for the amplifier, and then the tuner. And those are going to be plugged in here. Right. So if you look at this, the one on the top is for the one on the top is for the amplifier, and the other one's for the tuner. So I just unscrewed these bolts. Let's see. So I'm going to put one on the bottom here. And I already did the holes. And they do work. And this thing does have an orientation. This bolt. These are really tiny screws. And I'm probably going to need some help with some pliers to screw that on nicely. And, well, so far not too bad. Let's see, this one. Again, I know you can't see very much, but the idea is that I have to adjust, keep adjusting. All these things so that you can have the flexibility to plug something in. See, I didn't put it right. Great. Now, let's see. Gotta make sure. There it is. And somewhere I have some long needle nose pliers. And I'm going to tighten this up just a little bit. I made my hand also. Not too tight. But I'm sure, you know, if I want to make this permanently, maybe there's some glue or something. Wow, right? So we can pretend like that's going to plug in, right? Eventually, with a lot of vibration, that's probably going to come off. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. But you see, I felt that this is already loose. Yeah. I gotta make sure that I'm holding this. You can hear that. And I don't want to strip that too much. Well, you know, I might have to buy a different type of plug. Ooh. Yeah, that sounds okay. Okay. I'm just going to have to test that, won't I? All right. Okay. So I should have put some type of like shrink wrap right here to tell me which one's the top one and which one's the bottom one. But I don't have the shrink wrap on it. Let me see. One other thing we need to do is this BNC connection for the antenna. Okay. I'm going to put that over here. This one fits very snug. It was, didn't do the hole too much. Okay. This one I might, you can do it by hand. But most likely you want to use some pliers, not needle nose, but that's all I got right now. I should get some proper tools. I do have a wrench, a crescent wrench somewhere. Well, actually, it's right here. I'm surprised. Oh, yeah. I'm surprised I have it here. Not too tight. I don't want to break this either. It's already rotating. So, that's this one I haven't had any problems yet. Ooh, okay. So, all right. So that should be above. So the balsa wood will be underneath that connection. These connections will probably have to go like this or somehow. I'm not sure because I've never done it before. That's the first time. And the more wires there are on this side, the more unlikely I can bring out the battery. Then this, I can see it's lifted a little bit. And we have this Wago, which I thought, it's not really the Wago that's lifting it up. It's this, it's the USB. Okay. And the reason why I want that to be flushed is because what happens is, you know, the lid goes like this, right? It's connected here to there. And then the IC705 is like this, right? With all the plugs and everything. And the microphone, which I'm going to have to look for somewhere. So what I had to do is I had to cut some of this so that this dial will fit over nicely. Because this little piece right here was not doing it for me. Okay. We're almost ready. Let me look for the mic. Where is it? Okay. Let's put this underneath. This little piece right here. This is falling apart. I need to buy a new one. I don't have any more. I got thinner, no, much thicker balsa wood. That's not going to work. Believe it or not, every little piece, every single millimeter counts. So we want to put this through this slit. We might have to cut the slit a little more. That's a little bit too high right there. I can already feel that that's not going to work. I have these 3.5 millimeter plugs. Just to give it some breathing room. I need to know which one's the top one. This one's the top one. Maybe I should just color it. Oh, they're black. Oh, that's not going to help, is it? Okay. If you do it, put some heat shrink on there. Maybe I can put some tape on it. But I know this one's the top one. Actually, no, can't do that either. All right. Well, we're just going to have to make sure I keep an eye on that. Okay. It doesn't matter. There is still a platform here. All right. Let's see what happens. I know this one is the ALC. Might as well put it on now. See what happens. ALC goes in here. Nice. This is for the tuner. Okay. This one is the power. They're all right angled. That's nice. And hopefully it'll turn nicely and fit on the corner. It does. Wow. It's not too bad. This one I only use the mic on this side. How do I know which one's the mic? The mic is the smaller one out of the two. When I first got this radio, I can see this one's pushed down a little bit. If you see it this way, it might not look it that way. Let me see. Well, that looks pretty good. Yeah, it has two plugs, right? The smaller one, the thinner one, is the one for the mic. And we connect the BNC. That's not going to be a problem. Okay. Let's see. So far, so good. Now this is the plug for the Bio-NO. That's, fortunately, that got kind of stuck there on the bottom. But that's okay. We can deal with that. So this one, I put this iron core on there so it won't shock me. When I was a kid, I built a radio in junior high. And now the radio shocked me. So I'm pretty sure that core is going to help me not get shocked if I do with some common current. Wow. That's becoming. So let's turn this on. Let's see what happens. I heard it. That's getting power because it's a little while since I charged the internal battery on this. 3.6, very nice. Let's see, I have an Anderson power pole tester that we can test on the one that's giving me power, I hope. If it gives me a light, we're good. Yep, see that? That's nice. I should have done that before. That one's for solar. I'm pretty sure it is. Now I got my two connections. Top one is for the amplifier. The bottom one is for the ATU. And hopefully, I'm pretty sure that's going to get unscrewed with vibration, most likely. But okay, we're going to turn it off. And then the balsa wood thing, I mean, I've had it for almost, more than 8 months maybe. And I can probably put the other balsa wood, the much thicker version, but I'd rather have the thin version. This goes over like this, so I can protect the screen. And any of these sharp edges. And let's see what happens. Okay, so That doesn't look too great. That means I have to push this just probably a little bit in that way, so I can get the, yep, we're almost there. Have to adjust it. New configuration. Okay, let's see, let's find out. Yes, there it is. Wow, it's done. Right? This is the only thing I'm not too happy about. It's protruding. I thought maybe that's going to be a problem in the backpack. It's not. The latch is really nice. It keeps everything nice and snug. There's not a lot of things moving in there. These connections are awesome. I can now connect, something for USB if I need to for the battery. Gives me how much power I have. Right? It says 13.4. A little hard to read there. Anderson power poles. Wow. Not bad at all. Very nice. Very nice indeed. And it's ready to go. Thank you for watching. Please, if you're still watching, please consider subscribing. Please consider giving a thumbs up on this. And I hope you have a great day. This is Frank, Whiskey Charlie, 0 Oscar.